if I could become, I don't know, thumb-ambidextrous, then I feel like the number of flexible situations I can get myself into are gonna be greater. This feels like the first time you go up to a music game at an arcade. This is so much fun. All games should be played like this. Alright, so this is what's going to happen today. Anyone who's not familiar with this, the video I made was called Turn a $2 cheap plastic box into a controller. The insides are not the cheapest components you can buy. By a long shot. You drill holes in a plastic box, you plug the cables into this thing. There's like one port, you just plug them all into here. Once you plug the USB cable in, you've got a controller. And the one that using the PCB that I've got, it works on PC or Switch or PS4 or Xbox. So I'm super excited about trying this, but I honestly only ever tried a Hitbox at EVO Japan when the Hitbox company showed me theirs, the BitHox, the budget box all buttons, button stick, the hit container, broke box. I love it. The slap cube, the fight writer, the sheath box. My suggestion for this box, since it is basically based on the ASD spacebar, I'd like to propose that we call it the ASD space controller. So, for short, Acid Space. Dollar store hitbox, hit broke. Undernight in box. Oh, love it. I think I should still have box in it. So I'm thinking acid box. So, of course, I made the video over the weekend and I did play with the acid box a little bit, but not too much. But there was one thing that I did learn while I was playing around over the weekend, and it was that, in a way, if you just think about the game a bit more like a platform game, or basically any game that's not a fighting game, if you think about it like, for example, like people were saying, like use your right hand for the jump button. I tried both, and it felt just like playing Mario, because when you're playing Super Mario, you're controlling directions with your left hand, but up doesn't actually jump you anywhere unless you're playing Smash. And then you've got a jump button, or especially if you're doing like short hops and stuff, with your right hand, and then that way it actually does kind of make sense. This stick is not very wide. Personally, I am already starting to see why Hitbox chose some of the design things that they did, because every time I looked at a Hitbox before, like the controller made by Hitbox Arcade, I thought, dude, does it really need to be that big? Like, the buttons are so small in the middle, like, why is it so wide? And then I built one, and I put it on my lap, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is not very wide. I have to like hold my legs together for this. So if I were to build another one, I would probably try and find a box that's a bit wider. Anyone who's not familiar with this, if you haven't already seen the YouTube video that I made, basically, you can see the controller is like this. If I press this button, I go left. This button, I go right. This button presses down. But jump, or rather up, is actually on a button. So it's a bit more like Smash Bros. Or a platform game, or a first-person shooter game, or basically every genre that's not fighting games. Which I think is important. I think it's something important to remember. So here's how I want to do this. I want to actually try and practice a little bit of just general movement. I have tried a combo with Londrekia, right? So basically, I was practicing doing this into charge C. But what was getting to me is that if I'm moving just around in general, I'm just like, I need to jump in on this enemy. Oh, I can't remember. All I had was like a muscle memory of this, and I don't want to do that. I was like, I need to jump in, and when I want to be able to like think I'm gonna jump in and then be able to do it. So hopefully I can get used to this whole like pressing a button to jump. Here's something I want to show you. When I do a half circle, I sometimes miss the down input. Anyone who's not used an acid box style controller, if you go back down and then you switch like this to down forward, there's actually 0 frames where the down input comes up. So I found like it was easier if I made sure that all 3 get pressed at the same time, so that for at least a frame the down gets registered, because all 3, because of SOCD, it cancels out, and then you're left with only down. I think the best practice is to treat it like how you would practice if you started stick for the first time and figure out the hitbox equivalent input. Cool. Cool, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing so far. I did learn a combo just because I was like, I wonder if I can do my combo. But then I realized I wasn't able to actually like fight, like do the ground game. And I feel like I want to be able to do the ground game. Like, can I backdash when I need to? Can I press forward when I need to? Can I jump in, just do a simple jump in and press a button when I need to? Or can I do a dash assault when I need to? I need to learn just basically how do I move my character around? And this is, I'm in no hurry, literally. There's no competition. I'm not trying to enter a tournament for Hitbox players. I played a lot of old Mega Man games with my Hitbox, and I think this helped me figure out the buttons and movement. Ooh, Chris! Thanks for the advice, that sounds quite cool. Playing non-fighting games to get used to the jump movement. Mega Man. The other thing is I have a habit of holding down certain buttons because I don't know what to do with my fingers. So when I do this, I only need to press forward and jump once to do the jump forward, right? But I keep doing this, I keep doing and holding down the direction. Trying to get out of the habit of doing that. I like to think of finger up as an input on Hitbox. Absolutely, that makes sense. Finger up. Thanks. I was having issues with holding down some buttons for too long, but definitely an Under Night, especially an Under Night. Holding down a button for too long is a no-no. Sliding your fingers across the motion buttons seems like the way to go. What? Ew, no, I'm definitely not doing that. That hurts. Sorry, even if this is a legit input, I'm not doing it. It hurts. It hurts, and I accidentally press the buttons afterwards. Even if it's possible, I'm not doing it. Do you use your left thumb or right thumb to hit the up button? Curatio, that's one of the big things that I want to figure out today. Personally, I'm finding that right thumb feels pretty good, but I want to be flexible enough that I can do both. With my left, so that was with my left thumb, and that's with my right thumb. I want to be able to do it with both because I feel like if I could become, I don't know, thumb-bidextrous, if I can become ambidextrous enough with both thumbs, then I feel like the number of flexible situations I can get myself into are going to be greater. Hey Nihongo, wish I could stay, just wanted to say thanks for making uni content in 2021. Thank you very much for popping into the stream. You are always welcome to come back and watch a stream or take part in matches. Sometimes we play matches online, so definitely come in. You can try doing the half circle after the fireball super in VO to get used to it. Oh, I see what you mean. Do you mean like he's juggled for long enough that it should work? I did not know you could do that. Brilliant. Xiago, always here with the big tips. So, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just jump in and just aim for a jump C. Do it from the other side. Alright, the next thing I want to do, before I do dash jump... No, let's do dash jump. Let's do dash jump. So, I'll do dash with forward, tapping forward. Okay. It feels really weird. I'm so tempted to press my middle finger to jump, because I'm so used to playing on Mixbox. And even before I played on Mixbox, you know, when I was a kid, I played some fighting games on PC. See if I can do it with B. This is really enjoyable. Can I just show you a really cool feature of Under Night? When you want to change characters in Under Night, you don't have to go to character select. You literally just go, okay, I want Nanase. You press the button, confirm, and a split second later, you've got your new character. What I wanted to try was TK inputs, also known as the Tiger Knee, where you do with Nanase, I can jump up in the air and do a fireball, or I can do a fireball right after jumping, and I imagine it should be really easy because I should just be able to go like 1, 2, 3, fireball. Let's try it. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Oh, I'm missing the forward. There's another one of those skipping cardinal directions. 2, 3, 6, 8 ABC. Okay, hang on. But yes, sometimes I want to do a forward TK, not just a neutral TK. I see. Right. So if I plink the jump instead of trying to press them at the same time, that's safer. Okay. Oh, we in business. Oh, we're in business. Sick! That's so cool! I'm so convinced. I'm so convinced by this form factor. I mean, I've said it a million times before. Like, before I ever had one, I was always like you've seen all the videos where I was talking about cross-up, talking about Hitbox, talking about Mixbox, talking about all sorts of arcade stick stuff, right? But like, Hitbox, I've always been talking about it, but it's just like, it just makes so much sense. The only problem is that if it is actually better than other input methods, then that's where it gets a bit of a shame. Like, I don't want to see stick disappear, and I don't want to see pad disappear, and I don't, like, ideally, I would like to see all new fighting games coming out be conscious of these simultaneously button pressing controllers, because I don't want these to overtake everything else. I think that would just be a shame, because thinking about accessibility, people who prefer this kind of motion, people who prefer this kind of motion, or people who prefer to use their thumbs, or people who prefer to use their tongue to control the pad, like, I think fighting games will be infinitely more fun when accessibility is open to a larger group of people. But once it becomes like, okay, the only people who can really have a competitive edge are the people who have, you know, 4 working appendages on their left hand and working appendages, all these working appendages on their right hand. Like, I think there are plenty of good reasons why this shouldn't become the only controller worth using. I just think it's a very cool, it definitely opens up a lot of interesting things. What I want to do next is this. This is a special thing in Under Night In-Birth. If you press D, you get this, but if you press forward D, you get an assault, which always lands you in front of your enemy, which is quite an important point, I think. Unless you do this. I don't know if there are any, I don't know how many people have a cross-up attack that could work after that, and I don't even know if it would count. You have cross-up protection in this game, so it might not be quite as scary as it looks. So I'm going to do a far assault. And the reason I find this particularly difficult is because I think I used to press assault with my thumb. Now I can't even remember because Hitbox has taken over my brain. How about on the other side? Oof. Even harder. Ah, it's my fingers don't want to do it. I can't press 3C. And I'm holding down forward, which is bad because a lot of forward C is a move for most other characters. I still held forward C there. I would have got the wrong move. In those cases, you just got to practice letting go of forward. Yeah, and I think at this early stage, it's really important that I don't build bad habits, because since I'm going to the trouble of learning a new controller, it makes sense to not like already build up bad habits from the start. So much harder to unlearn a bad habit than it is to learn a good habit. And then there's other things where now that I'm pressing buttons at exactly the same time, I have to be careful that I don't press the action button like a frame too early. Like, if the direction comes out after the action button, then it will be like that's like, again, that's just a habit that I've built properly on the arcade stick, but I'm not quite there yet with Hitbox. I love your new Hitbox. It looks expensive. Well, to be honest, it is actually quite expensive. This plastic box is $2, but the parts in this stick, these are all premium parts. A universal fighting board is $100. These buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 11 of these, 15 times 7. It's like $100 worth of buttons, right? I don't actually know if they're $7 per button, but this is not a cheap build, definitely. If you're not familiar with this, in Under Night, something that's quite common, and we'll be talking about this when we do part 2 of the Kyo tutorial for Under Night In-Birth. If you're expecting an opponent to assault, or jump, or dash throw, or dash low attack, you can actually kind of option select against all 3. by doing down, forward, ACD. But this is actually kind of important. I was not aware that ACD was going to be so weird on button box. You could use a macro as well, right? Yeah. If I had an AD macro, it would be easier to just do it like with 2 buttons, like C plus throw macro. So anyone who's not familiar with this, I was taught this kind of at EVO Japan. In Street Fighter and Under Night, you can double tap forward, so tap tap, and you start dashing and running, right? But you can also do so by pressing forward and then plinking left. So obviously if you hold it down, it doesn't count as 2 inputs, but if you do right left, like that, instead of pressing tap tap forward like this is probably milliseconds faster. There are reasons why this might make certain combos easier, right? What is that technique? They taught me this at the Hitbox arcade booth at EVO Japan. Go right, and then you tap your ring finger like this. Then you, at the right speed, you go straight into a dash without having to go tap tap. Oh, I got it! Woohoo! A lot of things about Hitbox is I really feel that muscle memory is easier on a Hitbox than it is on an arcade stick. Because on an arcade stick, I don't want to like pass too many judgments too early, but I feel like on an arcade stick you're doing lateral movement with your left hand and up down movement with your right hand, and it's this, isn't it? With an arcade stick, I can understand why people don't get along with an arcade stick, because it's like what is it? You're like rubbing your tummy and patting your head. It's actually quite difficult. This feels like the first time you go up to a music game at an arcade and you're like, what's my? You know the first time you go up to a music game, Taiko no Tatsujin? You're like, oh my god, this is so much fun. All games should be played like this. Ongeki, yes! Actually, Ongeki's the opposite though, isn't it? Ongeki is like going back to arcade stick. Now that we've done some learning on the acid box, button box, hitbox, whatever it is you want to call it, we're gonna do what we practiced in the Kyo Kirishima tutorial that we did a couple weeks ago, which is to do very simple stuff in a low difficulty setting. The goal is to focus on like one core skill at a time. First I want to do a jump in. Ouch. While you're practicing this, you're also like practicing moving and blocking, because I just want to hit him without dying too soon. This is the first time I've ever used this controller to try and block. So now that we've done jump attacks, I'm going to do dash jumps. Dash, ouch. And then pressing, I'm just like, my right hand needs to press a button, right? And so I like try to press when I'm trying to press jump with my thumb, I end up pressing like random buttons like C. This is actually kind of fun. I don't know if this is the way that everyone else learns, but I'm quite enjoying it. Okay, what was I actually doing with this round? Oh yeah, I'm going to do assault. Get used to pressing forward when I press the D button. This is good. I'm getting the hang of pressing assault with my index. Not index finger. Yeah, with my index finger. I had to look down to figure out what button I was pressing. What finger I was using. Time for stage 4. I'm gonna do dash assault. Maybe I'm gonna start making use of this shortcut. It's definitely easier to do the shortcut on Hitbox, because since I'm not using my thumb for assault, using the dash shortcut, whichever one I use, either the SOCD dash or the macro. Right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to completely move from stick to hitbox? Believe it or not, I'm actually completely undecided. I actually didn't pick this up thinking I want to switch. I just picked it up thinking like I want to add an extra string to my bow, because although this is novel, you know, I do miss the mechanical, the kineticism of the way that stick works. I think if I wanted to just be competitive and win, I would probably be aiming to play on Hitbox exclusively. But it does feel a bit like data entry. Like I've said this on the Mixbox as well. Playing on Hitbox does feel like I'm... Oh yeah, I did it! It does feel, it feels like I'm working in data entry as a part-time job. Or typing an essay. I feel like I'm typing an essay. I feel like I run my channel more because I like find input methods fascinating. So we have a stick, or we have a Mixbox, or we have a Hitbox. But I don't really choose input methods that I think are going to help me win, because it's not really my goal. My goal is just to like have more fun with the game. So stage 5 is to do all 4 of the things. Jump in, dash jump in, assault, dash assault. Okay, what was I going to do? Okay, so first jump in. Come here. Okay, so I've done my jump in, and now I'm going to do dash jump in. Oh, yeah, dash jump even with a shortcut. I think I still prefer pressing AB with my fingers as opposed to the macro. And then after that, I'm going to do assault. And then dash assault. Let's do a jump in again. Rotation. Get away from me. And then dash jump. And then assault. Then dash assault. Ouch. And then back to jump. Whoops, that was the wrong button. You know, to be honest, like everyone's always saying, like pad is more convenient. You can learn to do all the difficult combos, with modern games, you know, on pad. But I still haven't switched over to pad. So it's like, even if I see an option that's better, like I always consider, like, what are my personal motivations? And I don't know, but I might, who knows? We might be like a year later, we'll be like remembering this stream, and we'll be like, remember when I said I wasn't gonna switch, and here we are. This is not a philosophical discussion about whether this is the controller of the future. I've already talked about that in previous videos, and I think, especially with Project L, I think like people, it makes it sound like we're like bigging this game up too much, but I think it is gonna be a really, really important game that comes out. But that aside, it's not a philosophical discussion about whether this is a better controller, but since it is going to be probably a big deal in the future, I want to make sure that I know how to use one. I don't think it'll be called Hitbox. I think that is just kind of confusing. And also, it's like calling all Kleenex tissue. It's like calling all tissues Kleenex, or calling all jellies Jello. You know what I mean? I think the name probably will. There will be a neutral name for these in the future. Could be leverless as well. You never know. So you could build a button box like this for like $30 probably. If you use really cheap buttons and, you know, a case like this and a $10 or $15 off-brand chip. At least as long as it's got SOCD. You don't want to choose a chip that doesn't have an SOCD cleaner in it, because you won't be allowed into any tournaments. Then again, maybe you don't want to play any tournaments. The Snackbox Micro looks pretty cool. I am interested in that, but I don't know anything about the company. They're a separate company to Hitbox, right? I'm not even thinking about whether it's like a better or worse tool. The only reason I'm actually kind of interested in this controller is because I think it's natural for newcomers to want a button for jump. That's actually kind of the only real reason why I find this really interesting. I see and have seen for years people always talking about the benefits of a button-based controller because of the SOCD shortcuts and all of that. But personally, I'm not even into it because it's like ergonomic, or it's fun, or it's competitively viable. Like, I genuinely am only interested because I think people who play Fortnite, people who play Minecraft, people who play League of Legends, people who play Doom, people who play Borderlands, people who play Super Mario, people who play Smash Bros. That's like, we've covered like 8 different genres there. They're all used to playing games where you press a button to jump, and I can understand why it makes no sense when people pick up an arcade stick for the first time and they're just like, what? You want me to do my directions and jump with only one tool, and then you also want me to use that same tool to input fireballs and tatsumaki? You gotta be kidding me. If you had never seen one of these, or you've never owned one of these, or you never used one of these, how many of you are now interested? How many of you saw something that made you go, oh, okay, that might be interesting? I'm curious to know what you think, so subscribe on YouTube and you can check out the video where this was made. Also, you can join us on Discord. Plenty of people chatting about what controllers they're making, showing off cool designs that they've done. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already, and if you're not already, follow on Twitch. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you all in the next NihongoGamer video and or stream.